Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Starting our descent now, down into Henderson. If we look at the weather here, weather's coming from 190 at 7. Altimeter's 2993. Okay. We'll go to the perf. And it's... Descent info. Perf in it. Let's go approach. Okay, so HND, winds coming in from the south at 7. Temperature is a blistering 34 at night, which is insane. And then 2993 in the QNH. We're actually taking runway 17 right. Or, I wonder. Oh. Well, if we go to the runway length, we're looking at 6501. And... there's a re-ref. It's 134 is roughly what we'll be doing, so we'll send that over and go back in here. And yeah, 134 is what we'll plan to do. And yeah, coming down here. Alright, let's open this up and we'll go into the checklist page. Descent checklist, shoulder harness, secure passenger sets on, auto pressurization. HND is 2,500. This is in thousands of feet, so this is 1,000, 2,500 is going to be over here. Alright, and that's set. The 2993 is going to be like that. Alright, that's fuel quantity and balance. Good, FMS, Alright, in range. Start up the APU. Altimeters. Leave it on that. So notice how our engine bleed is at the 10th stage, but once we start up our APU, we'll have our bleeds off. So. Alright, so let's get this to the summary page. Actually, we'll open up the chart. Oops. Here's the games 2. Continuing that descent. So yeah, doing a circling approach in the Challenger 650. This is gonna be interesting. All right. So actually about 10 minutes prior to our landing, we actually will start up our APU. So once this gets to about 10 minutes, which is what it is at right now, we'll actually go ahead and start up the APU. So, fuel is on. Look down here. And there's the APU. And we'll start up the APU. And go to 2993 in here. And we are doing an ILS approach. Actually, sorry, no, not. We're doing an RNAV, right? RNAV circle? RNAV circle. A, B, and C, and we're on approach category C. We're at 134 knots. So, yeah, approach category C. So, oh, yeah. Fun times. All right. APU is good. Actually, what we'll do is let me get this back to our checklist. Oops. And we'll go into our in-range checklist. So APU is started, altimeters are set, avionics are good, external lights on, and one target set. So that's what we need to do now. So it's in the cruise. If I get our engine bleeds off. Well, we'll leave this alone, actually. We'll leave our pack transition, all that jazz, and where it's at, and then we'll just get our generator on. Alright. There's the generator. And if you look at the thrust limit, we can set this to the takeoff thrust limit once the generator's on. And then we can transition the bleed air. So we'll go like this, I think. And now our engine bleeds are off. Yeah, that's good. Alright. Looking good. Making a left turn. And if I go into my flight plan and my secondary flight plan legs, secondary legs, there we go. We're actually going Wrath to Piegau. We'll move Wrath all the way up here. Now you can see our secondary legs are updating because I do have it with the 17 right approach in here. Okay. 8300. Let's actually change this to the RNAV approach. And we'll get this down to, let's say, 4,600. Oh, it's just 5,700. And that will follow, well, a step climb or step descent down to 4620 and 6.5 degree glide slope to minimums. Alright, so 3880 is our MDA. So we need to set that here into the reference page. borrow, and it's 3880. Oops. Oop. Passing through 10,000, we'll get the landing lights on here in a second once I have my borrow mins set. 3880. Borrow mins are set. Okay, and below 10,000, so landing lights coming on the pulse mode. One other thing that I can do is if I have our bearing pointers pointed out, sort of, for example, bearing pointer, you have FMS1 and then you have FMS2. If we have the bearing pointer 2 to the FMS2, it should, I believe, pull from route 2, which it does. Aha. Well, it's on secondary plate, but let's go back to our legs. Okay. Make a left turn. And what I want to do is once I'm approaching, I want to be fully configured before Gen X. So notice this is kind of oscillating a little bit. Yeah, I want to be fully approached before we're at Gen X here. And then at that point, I want to, because that's about 7 miles out, right? So at Gen X, or GeX6 is when we'll start configuring the airplane, start slowing down and doing all of that. All right, landing light, nose light can come on. There's the Las Vegas city of Las Vegas. Coming in, 250. Oops, not what I meant to do. Alright. And we're getting pretty close here. There we go. And I'll arm the approach mode. I don't even know if this approach mode will... It goes into V pitch. Right, so let's... Some speed brakes out. Okay, at Hackett 6,000. Okay, and then it fell is 5,800, which is what I'm setting in here. Okay. Speed, I'm going to reduce the speed down to about, we'll say about 193 knots or so. 190, yeah, 193 is fine when, and we're configuring. And we'll go flight level change. And there we go. All right, and then GeX6 is 5,700. All right. Arm, and arm. Okay. V glide path. All right, and that's V glide path down to. You have 4620, and then we'll put this down into our minimums here, 3880. Okay. Gear down. Speed will come down to, let's say, 180, flaps 1. And then our approach speed we said was 134, I want to say. We'll dial this back. Okay, level change. Speed down to 134. Okay, there's runway. I'm going to disconnect the auto throttle. Continue the descent down to 3880. $134. And I can go flaps full once I'm below 189, which I am. Okay. Flaps are coming down.
Approaching minimums.
Okay. And we'll circle here. Move it to the left. Alright. Okay, there's 3880.
Minimums.
Alright, make sure we are not descending below the minimums. I'm gonna trim it out. Runway's in sight, so now we'll go ahead and we can descend. Light director coming off. Holding that 134 here. Making sure that we don't. And this is going to swing. The bearing pointer is going to swing to the inverse here of that. So we'll keep this going and continue our descent. Okay. 2,500, so 3,500. 3,300 is what I want to start that here. So here we go. We're squaring it off. Okay. Sending down. Alright. And we'll keep this going. Okay.
1,000.
Alright, about 1,000 feet I can start kind of leveling off here. Have our auto throttle system on that. Alright, and then we'll start that base turn here. Alright, and there's about 30 degrees. Get a little bit of rudder action going. Probably overshooting final here. That's fine. Continuing that descent down in. It's fine. There's the runway.
Too low, terrain. 500, too low, terrain.
Alright, and auto throttle system off. Auto throttle disengaged. There's runway. And, I mean, for a circling approach in the simulator is almost impossible. So, this is really not too shabby.
100.
Right?
50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
All right. Whew. There we go. And we're down. All right. Okay, how about that? That was kind of fucking crazy of an approach. Jeez. All right. Landing lights off. All right. How about that, ladies and gentlemen? That was intense. There we go. We'll take the left here. Actually, we'll keep it going. We'll park next to these guys. We got our flaps up, so this is flaps 2, 3. And auto and off. Oh, disarm. Back to auto. That was crazy. Crazy approach. Alright, tap on the brakes here a little bit. And we'll enter this area. We got her all squared away. Recog light off. Alright, there we go. Alright. Go down here, set our parking brake, and we'll shut her down. So APU generators on. We could look at the replay, but it kind of does interfere a little bit with this. So we'll get the generators off, engine generators off, and we'll go ahead and shut down the engines. There we go. And get the fuel boost pumps off. And beacon light, I think, automatically comes off here after the N2 is below 10%, I want to say. Maybe not. We'll do that anyways. Still have the hydraulics pumping fluid. APU gen still on. This is fine. And we'll head out. Actually, what we'll do is we'll disable X camera. And we'll walk and open this up. So see how this is locked? Well, to unlock it, click on this and push it forward. There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Henderson. A very sketchy approach, but an approach nonetheless. And with that, we'll say that their flight's complete. Here's your APU. Oh. But yeah, very, very, very sketchy. But nonetheless, I'll catch you guys later. Have a good night.